Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Georgie, also known as Crafty Rogue Gamer, and thank you for joining me on what I think is going to be possibly a shorter video than usual, which my husband will be happy about since he edits my videos for me. Hopefully this one won't take him too long. So, yes, welcome. If this is your first time watching, welcome back. If you have, if you've watched my videos previously, or if you're a subscriber, I've just realised I've gone over 1,000 followers on Instagram, and I've got over 460 subscribers on YouTube now, which is just amazing because I didn't know what was going to happen when I started doing this. I didn't know if anyone would watch, anyone would want to see me. So yeah, just thank you if you've subscribed, if you're watching. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much for your support. So if you're new here, there will be animal interruptions, I think. Well, they normally are. I'm just trying to look who we've got. We've got one cat over there, but it's not the snorer, so we're all right. I normally record these when I have my stepdaughter here and my husband, but they are out at the moment. So I thought, oh, well, I've got a quiet sort of hour. Let's try and get this done and dusted and recorded so I can get it up later on tonight. Sounds a bit dirty. I'll probably leave that in there though because I'm on a roll. Anyway, so like I mentioned, my husband JC is kind enough to edit the video, so anything that pops up on the screen in any of the corners or underneath or whatever, that's his handiwork. So we'll do a bit of a stitchy catch up, and I'll let you know what I've been watching in terms of FlossTube and any shout outs, and then we'll go into works in progress. And yeah, have a look at some stitch purchases and just talk about some life stuff. So yeah, let's get started. Right, okay, so over the last few weeks, I mentioned last time, since the last video, I would love if people could recommend me some glue because my favourite Needleminder Zero from Nightmare Before Christmas was broken. And everyone said try E6000, so just arrived E6000 glue. I know technically that's in the purchases bit, but it's in the catch-up bit because I want to fix Zero. So that's a thank you to everyone who recommended this, and I shall be attempting to fix Zero and also make John Bon Pony the Needleminder. So I will put a picture in of Zero because I don't have him with me at the moment. However, I do still have John Bon Pony. So this is a little pin from one of my favourite places to visit, Cannon Hall Farm. Look at the pony. So yeah, John Bon Pony is going to get converted into a Needleminder. So yes, if you're one of the people who left me a recommendation, that's what I went with. Thank you very much. I shall be giving it a bash over the next few weeks. What else have we got? Stitchy things, stitch catch up. Right, so confession. I have only been stitching on one thing, and I feel slightly better about this because Darcy Cameron has only been stitching one piece at the moment. So yeah, I've made some progress though. Made some good progress. Well, what I feel is good progress for me. I'm really happy with what I've done. So the reason for me only stitching on one thing at the minute is because I don't want to say panic stitching, but I'm getting there with the panic stitching. Sort of speeding up with finishing a project, shall we say. So basically, one of my works in progress is a gift for someone at work, and with the pandemic we were all working from home, and I knew we wouldn't be getting together anytime soon because, you know, contingency planning, that wouldn't be a great thing. So I actually asked the question last week, do you think there's likely to be a team meeting in person anytime soon? And I got the response back that yeah, probably actually after half term. Half term is our school holidays. It's a week-long holiday, and that's in a few weeks' time. So I'm not at the point of panic yet. However, I am assertively stitching on one piece because I've got two pieces that I need to finish prior to this meeting, and one of them isn't started yet. So Any plans that I had last week, last time, oh yes, oh yeah, I would love to stitch on Finding Fantasy if I was going to stitch on something after I finished this video. That still stands. I would have loved to have done that. I didn't do any stitching for a few days after my last FlossTube. I'll explain why in a minute. But yeah, when I actually did start stitching, I'd asked that question and I was like, right, okay, we need to get this done now so that I don't end up panic stitching like the night before the meeting that I have to drive to. So that is the reason why I've only worked on one piece. The reason I haven't done more on this piece as well is because before I asked the question about the meeting, I'm just staring because I've got my stuff over here. I mentioned last time, I'm going to start doing these weekly because I just keep saying last week, I ought to just do them every week. But last time I said about potentially getting the Finding Fantasy threads off of stitch bows. So the reason behind that being I can't manage them properly because when I'm stitching I have animals clambering all over me. I've got to throw things down to go see to animals or whatever, so I'm never just sort of left in peace to stitch. So after I finished filming the last FlossTube and we got it online, I thought, right, seriously, like what do I want to do? And we had a few comments up and things like that and a few suggestions, and I thought, do you know what, I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to put it on bobbins. So thank you to anyone who suggested, had different suggestions about what I could do or how they manage their floss for their big projects and that kind of thing. But I think bobbins are my happy place, and it's something I can just take one out or two out. I can just leave them to one side. I've got a box that I can close the lid on. So it's safer because the dog and one of the cats, Dexter, who's over there, not the snorer, love threads. So yeah, bobbins. So I spent 3 nights maybe, casually, not speedily, bobbinating off of the stitch bows onto, well, bobbins, obviously. Has anyone else ever tried to, well, I know people will have done, but right, bobbinating is fine. I love putting threads on bobbins, like obviously not lots at a time because that's pretty soul destroying, but when you start doing it and do the first few, that's, you know, normally quite fun for me anyway. However, pulling the threads off of stitch bows, like actually taking the actual floss skeins off of stitch bows and then trying to bobbinate that is a different kettle of fish. That is ridiculously painful, and I had to do it for all 89 colours, so it took me a while. It took me a while of unknotting, and yeah, no, that was pretty horrific. So yeah, lesson learned, if we're going to use stitch bows, they're not going on to bobbins the next time, they're just staying on there. So yeah, that's what took me so long with that. However, I do have the end result of Finding Fantasy. All together on bobbins, apart from these here, which are extra threads, and I'm not a sadist. I'm not going to bobbinate those until I run out of what's actually on there. So yeah, those are all going to get stored together in my bag of tricks with all my stitching, and then this is just off to one side, all nicely away and completely manageable in terms of animals jumping on me. So yeah, that's pretty much the stitch catch-up and what I have done or not done and the reasons why. So let's have a look at watchers and shout outs. I'll be back in 2 minutes because I just want to have a drink. I just want to adjust my hair. what I'm wearing. I feel massively like unprepared for this video, even though I'm not. I've got all my notes and everything, and I wasn't going to film today because I was thinking about maybe switching to non-B, my stepdaughter, weekends, just to sort of give me a bit more time to record if needs be, and then let JC have some more time editing. But I don't know. I'm not sure. So when he said they've left because B's going back to her mum's house now. So I just thought, you know what, let's try and get stuff filmed while that's happening, and then when JC comes back, he can, like, hopefully I'll be done and he can edit everything. I have got better at filming things. I am, like, taking less time to do it overall. However, I don't want, it's getting to summer, we want to do more things outside, everything's opening back up, so I don't want it to take like all day to film a video or something and then it impedes on any time with family or doing fun things, because this is fun. I love doing this, but I don't want to miss out on other things that are arguably more important than me filming a FlossTube video, which is spending time with my loved ones. So yeah, the reason why I'm sort of like faffing about with what I'm wearing and my hair is I'm not, you know, I am not prepared. I am prepared, like as in notes and things, just I'm not prepared. I haven't straightened my hair, that's why it's so big. This is what happens with my hair. So yeah, apologies if I'm a bit faffy, and that's setting the camera off with autofocus. I can tell it is because it's just pinging about. Right, so FlossTubes and watching FlossTube. So okay, yeah, I'd not watched any FlossTube like for the first week after, probably more than a week after the last video, and I was already behind on like my normal FlossTube watching. So JC kindly noticed this and pointed it out to me, judging me. You've not watched any FlossTube. You need to be watching FlossTube. You need to be seeing what other people are doing, what about the people you haven't caught up with. You need to be watching it. And I'm like, all right, you watch it. But no, so yeah, I got prompted into catching up, and I think I'm caught up with everyone now, unless you've literally in the last couple of days just released something new. So I saw that I had been mentioned by Sammy Liz, so Sam, thank you. And yes, we are bad for each other, but you're right, so what? I've found an affinity of enablement with Sam, and Sam is great. She does some fantastic projects, and yeah, we both like buying stuff. So yeah, so what? We're terrible for each other. It's fine. Who else? Obsessive Crafty Dabbler, Brenda. Brenda mentioned me as well, and thank you, Brenda. You've got some absolutely ace patterns from Oh My Stitches shop, which I helped enable you with. The T-Rex skeleton that you are doing is fantastic. You know this, I've commented on this on your videos. It looks brilliant, and I'm really looking forward to watching you progress, because there's a set of 3 of those and they are going to look amazing. Stitching Penguin, Ashley mentioned me, and Sam actually, I think we both enabled Ashley because we both mentioned that we'd picked up some patterns in the Thread Geek sale, and Ashley, those patterns are going to look absolutely fantastic. I love this. I love silhouettes. I love cross-stitch silhouettes and like pattern and designs inside the silhouettes. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to when you do start on those, seeing those stitch up, because they're going to look brilliant. I finished watching and caught up fully on all of Joe from Belushi Stitches. All of Joe's videos. Joe has enabled me and made me buy things, although JC enabled me as much as Joe did with these ones, so that's, yeah. Joe, it's your fault though, because I wouldn't have known about the shop and where to go if it wasn't for you. But yeah, check out Joe Belushi Stitches. She's got some amazing projects going on, and yeah, makes you buy things. So after saying how well I'm doing at recording these videos, the brain fog is strong today, so I apologise for any like cropping and if there's a bit of like sort of chopping with these with what I'm filming, because yeah, I can't think of the words that I want to say. I know what I want to say, I just can't think how to say it. So The next person who I wanted to mention is Jessie from Bobo Stitch and Quilt. Jessie called a halt on us mentioning each other because I can't remember which way around it was, whether she gave me a shout out or whether I mentioned Jessie and then we both mentioned each other back, and I'm like, when do we stop? But so yeah, Jessie went, yeah, we're okay, we're cool, we can stop now, it's fine. However, Jessie then put what I feel is a really important message about representation and diversity in FlossTube. In one of her videos, I can't remember if it was the one where she called a stop or whether it was one afterwards, but I will ask JC to put a link to the video, and I will also put a link to Jessie's channel in the description of this video. So I feel massively underqualified to talk about representation and diversity. I am a Yorkshire lass, I come from a small town, I'm white British, I have what's considered as a potentially disabling medical condition. However, in the tip of the diversity iceberg, yeah, I'm not there. But Jessie puts it so much better than I ever could, and I know I'm stumbling over my words anyway, trying to film this, so please go and check out Jessie's video. And Jessie's also going to put together a sort of a watch list kind of thing, for you know, in terms of diverse FlossTubers. So if you have anyone who you think should, you know, that Jessie might like to watch, or think you know should be on that watch list, then yeah, just comment on Jessie's video and let her know. So I had one more channel that I wanted to mention. Notes. Do All the Crafts. So, Do All the Crafts, I am currently working through the channel, through your channel. I started working my way through, and you started off doing sort of book reviews and making things out of book, what was in the books, not actually out of books. Although I bet you could, you do so many more crafts than what I do. So yeah, that's what you started with, and that's what I've got through, like sort of doing little reviews of things. And then I've just got to the video where you inferred that there's going to be change to the channel, which I'm guessing maybe goes on more of a FlossTube slant. I don't know, I'm not there yet, I'm guessing, but I've enjoyed what I've watched so far, and I'm really looking forward to seeing, you know, the rest of your videos, the rest of your journey, and catching up with what you've been doing. So yeah, Do All the Crafts, that's the channel that I'm currently working my way through. So I am going to go and compose myself and collect myself, and next we'll have a look at WIP's works in progress, of which there is only one. But I also have an update on Demo Dog as well, because I got some new threads delivered, and I think I have a plan when I'm actually allowed to stitch it, and I'm not doing panic stitching. Assertive stitching, not panic stitching. Right, I'll be right back. Right, works in progress, WIPs. So I said I only had stitched on one project, but before I go into that, I want to update you on Demo Dog. So I will ask JC to put a picture up of what Demo Dog looks like when it is finished. Right, so this is slightly washed out on the screen, obviously with fluff and animal hairs. It's my life. Everything's covered in animal fur. So that is Demo Dog. I had an issue where the colours that were on the pattern weren't working for me, and this colour here, which looks very orangey actually on camera, it is washed out. This was the called for colour 606, and it was too orangey for me, and I don't know whether it was because it was against this colour here, which is 221, or whether it's on the black fabric or what. I don't know what's going on, but my eyes, and I'm sure JC will put something on here, but my eyes see that, can't do it, right, I'm holding this the wrong way, that is more orangey than red. Okay, so I started stitching 666, good old 666 red on there. However, I still saw it as being a hint, not even a hint, I think orange toned. I know it's red. I'm not arguing that it's red. I'm just saying I could see the orange in it. So I put this in timeout. I ordered some more reds, and I was hoping when I pulled it back out again that it looked less orangey. The 666. I will admit, now I've timed it out, that doesn't look as bad. Okay? I admit it. I'm not saying I'm wrong. I'm just saying it doesn't look as bad as what it did do a few weeks ago. So, I got a few more colours. Like I said, where are you? A few more reds, just to test it out. So I'm going to give it a go. And again, this is going to come up super washed out. It's either going to stay as 666 or we're going to do 321. 321. I haven't test stitched it on it yet because obviously I've been assertively stitching one project. But it's going to be one of those two colours. I also wasn't massively happy with the colour that was showing up, how it was showing up on the black. It wasn't doing it for me. There's nothing wrong with the pattern. White Raven patterns, you know, it's great. My eyes obviously aren't working with the colours. And that one, just switch the reds out, that was 221, the called for colour on the pattern. So I thought it might look a bit more aesthetically pleasing to me with 777 going a bit more burgundy. That hint more of colour to it. The 221's quite flat, whereas that 777 just looks to have a bit more depth. So I think with the 777, get rid of that. Like I say, even though it's quite washed out, the 666 or the 321. If I'm just going to turn this light off. Can I turn this light off? It's like the sun. Oh, crikey. Yeah, that's dark. No, it's still washed out. Not as bad, though. Not as bad? I don't know. Anyway, so 777 and either 666 or 321 is going to happen. That's what's going to go on. So yeah, I have a plan. I'm quite happy about that. I did love stitching this little one. So we'll be able to make some progress on that once I've finished my stitching, my other stitching. Right, so the one thing that I've been stitching on, if you follow me on Instagram, or you'd like to follow me on Instagram, Crafty Road Gamer on Instagram, you will have seen that I put a post up which hopefully put a little Bon Jovi in everyone's head saying halfway there on This Is Fine. Dog on fire. So yeah, 50% there, halfway there, living on a prayer. However, I kept going. Which means I'm now 72% there, which doesn't go as well in the terms of songs. Just can't get this right, the right way, there we go. 72% there, living on a prayer, doesn't really go as well, but here we are. Right, if I hold this up super quickly and sort of in the same place, is anyone going to notice that I had to stop the video because I was babbling and it's been cut? This is fine. It's fine. So, I think JC, if he hasn't already, will put an image of where this was at when you saw it in the last video. But yeah, I put an update saying halfway there and kept going. This is a pattern by Moto Ruxin and it's 18 count Ada and I'm stitching it 2/1. So I put in 5,451 stitches, and that is about-ish the same amount as what is left. I am almost there. I am so close. I can see the finish line. So, plans. Finish this. Plan number one. This will be finished. And then I have to move on to It's a Dog's Life Bossy Threads kit, which I'll ask JC to put an image on the screen. There. So once this is done, or if I get burned out with this, then I will move on to the It's a Dog's Life kit, and both of these need finishing before I stitch on anything else. So apologies if this makes for a couple of boring floss tubes or a bit samey floss tubes, but needs must. I am so looking forward to Finding Fantasy. I am, and it still stands that I would totally rather be stitching on that, but we gotta do it. We gotta do this, and we're so close. Look how close we are. Look how close we are. I even stitched the white in the eyes, so there's no more blank left. I did that. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Okay, so stitching purchases, but just slightly before that, I do want to acknowledge that I did say that it was totally not worth getting behind on the game of Stitch Along. I am now 2 weeks, shortly to be 3 weeks behind on the game of Stitch Along. And I know it's Stitch Along, it's fun, it's not supposed to matter, but it's my first Stitch Along. I'll get JC to put an image of either what it's going to look like but not all filled in, or what my stopping point was last time. I will catch up on that. I am going to finish on time on that stitch along. I'm going to do it. I need to do it for one, and it's going to be my first one, and then after that, then I don't care if I stitch along in time with stitch alongs. But yeah, the other thing I wanted to sort of acknowledge is the joy that it is bringing me putting the bobbins in, well, away from there, what I have them in while I'm stitching. Actually in their project bags, loosely called project bags because it's basically IKEA food bags, actually back into where they need to be in the bobbin boxes. So either putting them either into the next project or putting them like back away until they are to be used again. That's bringing me a lot of joy, possibly more than what it should, or that I should admit to. I've also started a spreadsheet. That was another thing that I got going on. Which is why I didn't actually stitch, because when I bobbinated all the Finding Fantasy stuff, I got it all in a spreadsheet because I had the M order of the gamer threads for the M in the gamer. So I just thought, right, I'm starting to lose track a bit here. So yeah, everything is in one massive spreadsheet now, and I can locate each of my thread colours that I have in whichever projects they are. So yeah, I work in data, I'm a spreadsheet geek. I like my spreadsheet a lot, more than I should. It makes me happy. Plus the putting the threads away and being on the finish line and putting them where they need to be next. So I have more threads to bobbinate and put in my spreadsheet. That brings me joy. So these are, Sam will be happy to hear this. Sam knows about this, maybe? I don't know. I don't know if you know about this, Sam. But these are, this is my thread order, another thread order. So some of these colours are for the Two Towers pattern that I will ask JC to put an image of. So yeah, I now have enough threads, hypothetically, if I were starting anything that was actually for me, if I was starting anything that was actually for me, hypothetically, I have all the colours for Two Towers. Just saying. I still haven't checked my fabric. I did say I would check my fabric for Sam, but I haven't, because if I know if I check it and I have it, that'll make me really want to start it, and I'm totally not doing that, even though we've just watched all of the Hobbit trilogy and we're going to start on the extended editions of the Lord of the Rings one, and that's what I totally should be stitching while I'm watching those, but we're not going to do it. We need to behave and we need to be good. So yeah, These threads have come from my usual place on eBay. I will put a link to that. It's not my usual place as I always go to it. I have a few different stores I go to for threads, but this shop is currently price competitive for the skeins, and also they do super quick turnaround. So yeah, really happy with that. The other thing I purchased that I mentioned earlier was my glue from the Needleminders. So that's there. What else I've purchased? I bought, they're downstairs because they're in my bag, but I got some of the magnetic things. Magnetic cable ties, that's what I wanted to say. And they are fantastic. I found an Amazon review. Obviously there's loads of different types of the same thing on Amazon. So I found a review that basically said the magnets are too strong. I'm like, right, I'm having those ones then. So they are longer than the ones I have. I'll get JC to put an image in of the ones that I bought, and I'll put a link to the ones that I bought. And when they arrived, I couldn't separate them. The magnets were that strong. Neither could JC. He did, but he couldn't do it straight away, and that made me feel slightly better that it wasn't just me. But yeah, they are fantastic. They are really helping with with my fabric management on the one project that I have been stitching on. But yeah, so I'm really excited about using those. And then might have bought more patterns. No, seriously, this is I was enabled, and then I was pushed. So Joe from Belushi Stitchers, I love The Witcher. I love The Witcher from the games, but I also love the Netflix series as well. So when I was commenting on some of Joe's videos, I'm like, yes, I love that project so much. Because Joe has finished a Geralt, the main character from The Witcher. So Joe's been trying to enable me to buy that pattern. I stood strong. I was so good. I really was. I have not bought that pattern because there's a master plan, because there's also 2 more patterns that I want a Geralt for to go with, but I've not bought those yet, and I need to find the right one. So I didn't just dive in and buy the one that Joe was encouraging me to buy. However, I made the mistake of looking on the store that Joe pointed me to, and I found they did other things that were gamey. So I love Skyrim. I love the Elder Scrolls series. I love Morrowind. I love everything. But they had Skyrim patterns, and I also love Dragon Age, the game, and they had Dragon Age patterns as well. And I had them in my basket, and I did the right thing. I left them in my basket. There was a sale on. I don't know if it's still on, and I'll put a link to the shop in the description. But I did the right thing. I left them in my basket. I trimmed down the list in my basket to the ones that I thought, yeah, I really do want these ones. And then I asked JC, I was like, right, if I had to just pick a couple of these, or one Dragon Age and one Skyrim, which one would which one do you think, which one do you like? And he just went, well, just buy them all. I'm like, what? No, that's not what I asked. That's not what I said. This, you think I am bad about buying things, right? And I admit, over the course of, what is this, FlossTube number 5 now? So over the course of the last 4 FlossTubes, yes, it looks like I do buy a lot, but I get pushed as much as encouraged, and I do have FOMO, and it is my money, and it is my, they are my cards that I am spending my money on. However, I feel I'd do a bit better if I didn't have so much encouragement. So yeah, I bought all the patterns. Andy said he'd go halves with me as well. So why was I not going to buy them? So these are the patterns that I bought because of Joe, and I've not written the name of the shop down, but I'll make sure it's on the images and the links in the description, and I love them. And yeah, I really need to get Dog on Fire and It's a Dog's Life finish, because I have so much that I super really want to stitch for myself right now. Not for myself, for the household, obviously. For me. So those are the things, that's it. You see, that's not as bad. That is not as bad as everything, as every other floss tube possibly. Everything previously. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's as bad. I mean, it's payday next week, so who knows? Who knows? Right, so if you were here just for the stitching things and, you know, don't want to listen to any more of my ramblings, fair dues. I can't argue with that. So thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you next time. If you are sticking around for life stuff, then yeah, I'm going to try and keep it short and sweet and not babble on too much, but I can't promise anything because I am rambling today. So see you soon if you're leaving now, and we'll carry on if you're not. Right, babbled again, like properly went off on tangents, so I've started again. So if you're sticking with me, this is life and stuff and random things updates. So life's been a bit standard. Like, we had a 4-day weekend and I didn't do any stitching, but we got stuff done, and stuff includes starting on office number 2. So this is the office / games room, more games room than office to be fair, but it's where we both work from home during the day when we're not on site. So it's really hard when we both got conference calls, and yeah, it's not great because one of us has to relocate, and it's like the kitchen table or just like balancing it on your knee in the bedroom or whatever, sat on the side of the bed. So we're going to get office number 2 set up, which is going to have a dedicated stitching space for me, and also we're going to relocate JC's racing rig. He does sim racing, which is going to be nice because, you know, I married him, I love him, and I want to spend time with him. But at the minute, I love this chair, and, you know, this is a great spot. It's so comfy, it doesn't set my fibro off, but I can't be in it all day. And when I've been in the office all day for work, I just need my sofa and my sofa duvet. So yeah, I'm excited about that because it means that he can do his racing and I can do my stitching, and we can actually both be comfortable in the same room together. And it means I get to chat to him in between his like laps and different races and things. And yeah, so we've actually made a start clearing that out, which is fab because that means we don't have to work on the garden. Now, you know, tactical diversion here. We do need to do the garden, we do, but the weather's been terrible anyway, so for the most part we didn't actually get much done. From when I actually stated we are doing the garden to actually, you know, now, because of the weather didn't permit most days. Excuses. But yeah, office number 2 is the current priority, so we can spend a bit more proper time together. So you might see me recording from office number 2 because depending on when I do, if JC is racing or gaming, no, if JC is gaming, he'll do it in here. If he's racing, he'll do it in there. But anyway, I'll have 3 locations where I can record from, either here, the sofa, or office number 2 within my dedicated stitchy spot, or very close to it. So excited about that. Work's ramping up. It was going to do, which is fine, that's work. Peaks and troughs, that's what we have. When it's quiet, it's steady. It's not as busy as when it's a peak, when it's a bit ridiculous. So with work ramping up, I've kind of felt like my fibro is coming back a bit, which is daft because I've got it all the time. I know I have this condition. I do, but it's, I don't want to say it's been in remission, but it's not been rearing its ugly head, apart from the bit of brain fog, and, you know, I can deal with that. But pain-wise, I've been absolutely fine. Not so much recently, and I think that's a combination of work and just eating too much rubbish. So, like, I mean, who doesn't love a good takeaway, or like food that you don't have to cook yourself? So I think we've been possibly indulging too much, and then work, which equals like sort of joint pain and T-Rex hands. It's ironic, is it right, JC, judge of ironic? Is it ironic that I get T-Rex hands with my fibro when I love dinosaurs so much? Or is it just a happy coincidence? So yeah, that's not great, but I can sort that out, hopefully nip that in the bud before that goes any further. So yeah, normally I just get like sort of the tiredness and the fatigue and the CFS, the chronic fatigue syndrome side of it, but yeah, recently fibro pain, not great. And then, oh, what else? Oh yeah, so I also mentioned that I was getting a lot of vaccinations, so not just COVID, but MMR, which you're supposed to have as a child, measles, mumps, rubella, but my mum didn't vaccinate me when I was a kid because my sister had an allergic reaction and she was afraid of what would happen to me potentially. So yeah, I never ended up having any childhood vaccinations. So I was back at the nurse. Was it for MMR too? I can't remember. I was at the doctor's for some reason, talking to the nurse. And she was like, oh yeah, right, okay, so I'm going to pull your hospital records and just see what else, because you might need tetanus. Course of tetanus. I was like, right, okay, that's fine, no problem. So I got a phone call going, yeah, you need a course of tetanus. So yeah, that's booked in for either next week or the week after. Not sure how that's going to affect me, but I'll be able to do anything I want soon. Completely vaccinated or inoculated or whatever against absolutely everything I needed to be. So yeah, that's been life really. In terms of like what I've been watching or anything like that, I'll admit, right, this might be controversial, but American Horror Story, I loved the first season of American Horror Story so much. And then the second series came out, and I couldn't get into it at all. I'm aware that some people, like most people, probably not agree with me, because I know people love American Horror Story, and especially love Asylum season 2. I then loved season 3, and then I couldn't get into season 4, Freak Show, and I just kind of abandoned it at that point. So I have been making the effort to watch American Horror Story again. And I got through season 4, which I was still a bit meh about, but then I've got to season 5, which I am loving. So maybe I just like odd numbered series of American Horror Story, 1, 3, 5. We've also just been watching random stuff. So I mentioned like Hobbits, watching Lord of the Rings, that kind of thing. Yeah, just random bits and bobs, nothing specific. But yeah, American Horror Story I've been working my way through, and then we're still working our way through the X-Files on Amazon Prime. The other thing I've been considering, I don't know I've still not actually booked anything, is whether to start going back to gigs or not. So I know COVID isn't going away. It's here to stay. But obviously more people are getting vaccinated, and things are starting to open back up over here, and there are some gigs that I would like to go to, or some shows I would like to go to, and I'm like that. I don't know whether to book them or not. Like, so Offspring are playing in December, and Electric Six as well, and yeah, I miss live music so much. So that's my big dilemma at the moment. Should I or shouldn't I? And I don't know. I probably will. Probably. But I'm not there yet. I don't know. Because I know, like, obviously come winter, everyone's going to be coughing and sneezing and spluttering anyway, because, winter, regular cold and flu. So yeah, maybe I book standing tickets and I can manoeuvre in the crowd away from anyone or any places I don't feel comfortable. I'm not sure. Having to think about that one. Anyway. So, yeah, that's pretty much it and where we're at. So thank you. I know I said thank you at the beginning, but if you stick the whole way through the videos, I know I've not been health-wise great for the last couple of FlossTubes, and I do sort of say it at the beginning, if I'm or throughout if I get brain fog or whatever. But if you're watching, if you're subscribing, if you're here with me, I do really genuinely appreciate you know, you watching and your support. I really, really do. It really means a lot. So yeah, just one last thank you, really. Anything or anyone I've talked about or that I've mentioned, I'll put in the description. I'm not going to say check the blog out because I've still not updated the blog. But, you know, I'm on Instagram, so if you want to follow me on Instagram, Crafty Rogue Gamer, please feel free to do so. And yeah, I love like the comments. So if you want, you know, and talking to people and chatting in the comments, if you want to leave a comment on this video, that's fantastic. Like I say, work's ramping up, so I will, you know, comment back as soon as I can. But yeah, if you want to just say hi, then that'd be lovely. That's brilliant. I really, really enjoy chatting to people. So yeah, right, take care, and I shall see you next time, possibly with tetanus number 1 in my system, and hopefully, definitely having eaten better for the next few weeks. Maybe not as much brain fog, and it might be a bit more put together. But take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.